Let's say perhaps that you're a very big artist, you have millions and millions of followers. In the case of Michael Jackson, and you have 50 places to tour ahead. You have 50 places to tour, you have 50 places to go to perform, but you're a big artist, yes, but there is something you can't buy, there is something you cannot buy, and that is sleep. So we'll be using the case study of Michael Jackson. What took Michael Jackson's life? He was trying to achieve something, and that is sleep. Because without sleep, without good sleep, you cannot perform. You can't perform. I observed a trend in the pharmacy where I work in Koyi. We sell varieties of drugs, over-the-counter drugs. One of our best sellers are antibiotics. After antibiotics, we have contraceptives, where you have post-2 backup, post-pill, generally known as the early morning pill. But then, this is the hook. Aside antibiotics and contraceptives, there is this medication that sells very well, Diphenhydramine, or any cough syrup that contains sedative, that is hypnotic. People, they come in the pharmacy at night, they need rest, they want to rest, but then they think that buying sleeping pills would make them sleep. When you take heavy sedative, you're not sleeping, you lost consciousness and you're just under anesthesia. You're under anesthesia, you're not sleeping. Natural sleep has different stages and it is controlled by the glymphatic system. When you sleep naturally, the glymphatic system works through the cerebrospinal fluid to clear away toxins and proteins that build up while you're active during the day. So if you use diphenhydramine or any sedative, in the case of Michael Jackson's Propofol, which he called milk, if you use any of these sedatives to achieve rest, to sleep, you wake up the next day feeling even more exhausted than you should. Because normally after sleeping, you should feel refreshed. But then why is it that after sleeping you start feeling exhausted? This diphenhydramine is an antihistamine and it works by blocking H1 receptors in the brain. Because these receptors are involved in keeping you alert. When you block them, it makes you feel drowsy. But the problem with this is tolerance. Because when you take it over a period of time, the body gets used to it. And for it to work, you have to increase the dose. I have seen people that started with 2 tablets and on the long run, it was increased to 6 tablets, 5 tablets, and oh my God. I've met people who started with 1 tablet and they are now taking 4 or 5 just to shut down. And they are still working the same path that Michael Jackson took. I wish on the long run took his life. The Propofol he used, that he took, that his medical doctor gave him, that took his life, is an anesthesia. It is to be used in the hospital, not to be used at home. But aside that, before he went as far as to start taking Propofol, he has been using other hypnotics and other sedatives so as to achieve sleep. When I bumped into the information that if you come into Michael Jackson's house, that his house is like a mini clinic, I laughed. But here in Nigeria, it's also very popular, it is very common. I have encountered patients in the pharmacy who describe their medicine cabinets to me, and it is truly alarming. Some people keep collections of drugs that rival a small retail outlet. When you see their drug collection, you think they sell drugs. They have half-used blister packs of antibiotics. They use manpower, they use Abo, they use Viagra for performance. When I see a patient who takes a cocktail of herbal teas in the morning, a multivitamin at noon, an energy booster before a party, and a sedative at noon, I see a forensic file in the making. Yes. Many herbal drug preparations contain active chemicals that induce or inhibit liver enzymes. If you take an unlabeled herbal cleanser that speeds up your liver and then take your heart medication or a sedative, the sedative might be cleared from your body too fast, it won't work, or too slow, and it becomes toxic. I once met a man who complained of constant dizziness. When I asked to see his medications, guess what? Like, unbelievable. He put the bag that was containing 11 different substances. He was taking 3 different drugs that all did the same thing, just with different brand names. He was overdosing on purpose without even knowing it. Do you understand me? So, the point I'm trying to make is, taking different medications at the same time can kill. Polypharmacy can take once. Michael Jackson was under massive pressure to perform because he was the king of pop, and even right now, there is no decorated artist in history as Michael Jackson. Imagine someone who won 11 Grammy Awards. Who comes close? His album Thriller is one of the best sellers. So even at 50, he was under massive pressure to perform. He was trying to prove he still had the magic for his This Is It tour, because there is a tour he had that was coming up, This Is It. But he was suffering from chronic insomnia, which I mentioned earlier that money can't buy sleep. Chronic insomnia is a situation whereby you can't sleep. A very long time you sleep, you wake up, you sleep. So, to fix this, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, began giving him Propofol in a bedroom setting, which is not normal. Propofol is a very powerful drug. It's a white liquid, which is why Michael called it milk. In hospitals, doctors use it to put you into a deep state so that they can cut you open for surgery without you feeling pain. It is not designed for sleep. When you sleep naturally, your brain goes through cycles that heal your body. When you take Propofol, your brain is simply switched off, and some of your organs stop firing. Some of your organs stop working. It is a chemical knockout. So to understand why Michael Jackson died, you have to look into the cocktail of his system. It was not just one drug. It was a collection of medications that he was into. He was also taking aside the Propofol, which Propofol alone can take one's life. Because when you take Propofol, Propofol sends a message to GABA. GABA is like a security man in the gate that if he speaks, everybody in the house keeps quiet, or other colleagues, security colleagues, keeps quiet, stops talking. That is what GABA can be likened to. So when you now take Propofol, taking Propofol is like equipping GABA, giving this security man knife, giving this security man missile, giving this security man different things that, aside his voice, makes him even much more dangerous. Fans often think that Michael Jackson was a junkie or perhaps a drug addict. This is not entirely accurate. It is not. He was a victim of medical negligence. Michael was a patient who was given the wrong medicine for the wrong reason in the wrong place. Because Propofol belongs in an operating room, not to be used in a house for personal reasons. No. You should also know that sleeping more with chemicals does not mean that you are sleeping. Does not mean you are resting. Michael was physically exhausted because Propofol does not allow the brain to enter REM, which is the stage of sleep where your mind actually recovers. So, well, he was actually, or essentially, or literally, a zombie who was being knocked out every night and forced to perform every day. I must tell you this: never mix a sedative without a doctor's supervision. It is wrong. If you are taking a pill for anxiety and a pill for sleep, you're already entering a danger zone. Do not look for shortcuts to sleep. If you cannot sleep, you look at your stress levels and your environment. Using heavy drugs to sleep is like using a hammer to kill a mosquito pest. Mosquito has been killed, but you end up breaking the glass window. Totally makes no sense. It is counterproductive. Michael Jackson gave the world music that will live forever, but his life gave us a lesson that we will never forget. Because medicine is a science of balance. When you disturb that balance with high doses and dangerous combinations, the body will eventually shut down. When the forensic team entered his room, they found a scene that no professional pharmacist would ever approve of. There was no pulse oximeter that sounds an alarm if there is an oxygen level drop. There was no oxygen tank. There was no crash cart to revive him. Nothing. The autopsy showed that Michael was quite healthy for his age. His heart was strong. He was not frail as some people thought. Alright? He died because of a medical error. Dr. Conrad Murray had left the room to make phone calls while Michael was under the influence of Propofol. In the world of medicine, if you give someone Propofol, you must never take your eyes off them for even 1 second. We must stop treating drugs like groceries. A drug is a chemical that changes your body's natural rhythm. Whether it's a bottle of Propofol in a Hollywood mansion or a vial of any sedative in a Lagos apartment, the principle remains the same. So in conclusion, if you don't respect the chemistry of the body will eventually stop responding to the chemistry of life. Thank you.